Welcome to another episode of Live With It. This is the show where the DTNS family of folks lives with a gadget, a service, or some sort of product over a long enough period of time that we get a solid, honest feel about how we feel about living with it. I am Sarah Lane. We're talking about the good and the bad today, and we're sharing all of our thoughts with you. Joining me today is Jenn Cutter, host of Daily Tech Headlines and often a DTNS regular. Hi, Jenn.
Hi, Sarah. It's great to be here talking about one of my most recent favorite things.
Okay, so let's talk about the recent favorite thing. What do we got going on today?
We have the Nintendo Switch 2, which for people who haven't seen it, it's kind of giant. It is very big. It's got an 8-inch screen. It's a touch screen, the way Nintendo always does it with these things ever since the DS. And it's been really interesting because it's not such a huge upgrade from the Switch 1 in terms of what it can do, but it does it better because of course it does. So when you have it in the dock mode, you can actually play some games, not all, but some games in 4K, which for Nintendo is a big deal.
Now, you mentioned that it's larger. Does this bother you or do you like it?
I like it. Like, it's an 8-inch screen, but I swear it feels bigger when you're playing it because it's so bright. It's so crisp. Now, for me and my wrists, I do find it kind of heavy to play with compared to the Switch 1. Because for the Switch 1, I bought some third-party grips that gave me like a controller on the side as opposed to just the straight angle. But for this one, it is wide enough for my hands that I do play with it in handheld mode a lot more often than I used to. But I also bought the Pro controller, and that is one of the reasons we need to talk about the price of this thing because
let's talk price.
Yeah. So it is $449 US or $629 Canadian for the base unit. The base unit comes with nothing but what's in the box. So you get your Joy-Cons, your Switch, your dock. End of list. But if you spend more money for $499.99 US or $699.99 Canadian, you can get one of the bundles. So at launch, there was just the bundle with Mario Kart World, but there is also the upcoming Pokemon ZA bundle. Now, it's not like bundles in the past. Like if you bought bundles for different consoles, sometimes you get like, ooh, it's got like pretty stickers or a different kind of look for the Joy-Cons. These are just the base system that come with the digital copy of the game. So that's a little disappointing. Now, it is good for people who bought it at launch that you don't feel like, oh, I missed out on the cool Pokemon design one. No, you only see the Pokemon design on the box that the Switch 2 comes in.
Now, for anybody who's just sort of like, you know, we're just getting into the Switch universe and they say, well, hold on, if you had this original Switch, can you not play the same games on the Switch 2?
The compatibility list for Switch 1 to Switch 2 is staggeringly high. I thought there was going to be more of a problem with it, but it's a lot of like very small company games that don't run in a full compatibility mode or don't run at all, but things that we thought weren't going to work, like Ring Fit Adventure. It came with like a ring and you slide the original Joy-Cons into it, and it was a big workout game. It was obviously huge in 2020, 2021. That works with the Switch 2 because your original Joy-Cons will connect to the Switch 2. So you can still do that. You can still do a lot of the Nintendo Labo stuff, which is the ones where you build little cardboard things. It was very neat and very good for kids in STEM because, again, you can connect the original Joy-Cons. The one you can't use is the Labo VR set because that involved sliding the original Switch into these glasses you wear. And because the Switch 2 is bigger, that one's out. So apologies to those people, but a lot of people have also kept their Switch 1, so you're still good there.
Well, so for somebody who was enthusiastic about the original Switch, why did you decide to go with the Switch 2?
Kind of FOMO. Everyone was talking about it. I wasn't going to. I was going to wait until after Christmas, actually. And then with the current international economic situation, I was like, you know what? I am better off getting this now in case of price fluctuations, which like a lot of people kind of got burned on that with Xbox and PlayStation right now. And there's always that rush of like everybody gets the game at the same time. Everyone who loves Nintendo was playing Mario Kart World. And that was really fun to be a part of. And also I lucked into getting a pre-order because that was a bit of a challenge.
So now that you have it, you say that the size is working for you. You know, large but not too heavy but not too. So what are you using the Switch 2 mostly for?
Well, coincidentally, after launch, I had to travel for a bit. So I went to the Maritimes to visit some family. And the battery life for the Switch 2 was actually amazing. I am playing with like brightness on because it's really bright on the plane. I am playing the shockingly excellent Donkey Kong Bonanza game, which I highly recommend. It's actually better than Mario Kart World. And I was playing that for like 10 hours straight, obviously with like Wi-Fi disabled and running it in airplane mode. But the battery life for a portable system for people going on trips, 100% recommended. It was fantastic.
And for somebody who's not into gaming, who's like, oh, the screen, you know, all the specs look good, but, you know, I'm just not going to play Donkey Kong or whatever. This is gaming specifically, right? Like you're not watching movies on this.
No, see a lot. So on Switch 1, you could watch stuff like Crunchyroll and YouTube and a lot of services that I can't speak to because they weren't available in Canada. But those are not currently on the Switch 2. It is effectively like just a straight dedicated gaming machine. So you've got your old games, you've got the new games coming out. And it's a bit of a point of contention because this system is more digital than you might expect. Because you can go to the store, you can buy a game, but it will come with a game key and not a game. So the game key kind of functions as a cartridge, but once you put that in the system, you still have to download the whole game because it's a digital product. Now, this is how they get around the sizes of cartridges because, you know, cartridges can only hold so much. So this is how you get larger games on the system, which I think is going to be more important as it comes out now that the Switch supports a higher level of graphic fidelity. But for collectors like me, we're always worried like, okay, so 10 years down the line, if I need to re-download this game, will they let me? I paid for this. I paid for it in full. I'm not renting the game, but I don't own the game in the same way that if I have Mario, I can put Mario in anytime, anywhere.
Well, and that would be my next question is, you know, storage in general. Have you had any issues with storage?
I haven't yet. I have a pretty decent collection, but the base unit, well, every unit right now comes with 256 gigs, which is a lot. It's pretty good. Now, if you are, let's say, religious about saving your gameplay videos or screenshots, you can fill that up pretty fast if you're doing this at max quality. And since everyone who had a Switch 1 pretty much eventually did put in a micro SD card for it, it is more, you have to be a lot more careful for the Switch 2 because it does not use these same cards. The same micro SD cards that everybody has, only good for transferring screenshots and media because you now need the micro SD express cards. Like you need to look at the extremely fine print to make sure you have the right card for your system because you need the higher speed of it for playing the games.
The Switch 2 sounds like it's been overall pretty good experience, but no gadget is always 100% good. Did you have some bumps on the road getting set up?
Setup was... I got lucky because I didn't pre-order the Switch 2 in my hometown. I went to go visit my mom who lives in a smaller town, which is how I got the pre-order because it was technically her pre-order because she had to come with me for the midnight launch because she's the one who put it down.
Oh yeah, I've done that with my mom too.
Since you had to do that in person. So I was like, Mom, do you want to go at midnight with me? Which was like the last time we did that was the Nintendo Wii. So that was kind of a fun adventure.
I love the idea. Like, I don't know how much your mom is enthusiastic about this stuff or not, but I love the idea of her being like, yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah, no, kind of like grudging, but also supportive. Because also, like, this has been my career talking about games since I was a teenager. And when I was a kid, she somehow magically, it was sold out forever. She made like a shady deal behind the Eaton Center in Toronto to get Pokemon Red and Blue for me and my brother as a kid. So, like, she pretends to, like, you know, be ambivalent about it, but she is supportive.
She's in the mix. She's in the mix. Yeah.
But it was a fluke that I had brought my Switch 1 with me to my mom's place because doing the transfer, in order to transfer everything, you either had to pre-upload everything from your Switch 1 to Nintendo server, which would have wiped your Switch 1 back to factory conditions. and then you can download that onto your Switch 2, or you have the two systems side by side and do like that transfer, like the same way you were setting up a phone where you just have them next to each other and they handle it. So for parents this Christmas who, or even people who traded in their Switch 1 without knowing about this very important step, might be really sad on Christmas or whenever they buy it to find that they have lost a bunch of things like their saves. Saves are an important thing to move, and not everything goes to Nintendo's cloud server, even if you are paying for Nintendo Switch Online, which automatically backs up a lot of your saves. So I think there's going to be some broken hearts with some kids.
And there's no workarounds for that?
No, because like especially especially if you don't have the system anymore and like you think like, oh, it's backed up. The same way where if you start, this is independent of the Switch 2, but if you start a new Animal Crossing island, you need to use the Animal Crossing backup service or you will lose everything you did on your island.
Yeah. All right. So that is definitely something for people to consider. You talked about some of the stuff that you liked about the Switch, but let's just kind of go through what you think is best about it.
One of the things that I am, like, especially for me, particularly thrilled about is the stand, the very adjustable stand, so that even without a dock, I can play it anywhere and set it at any angle that I can view, and it moves so easily because the Switch 1 had a terrifying kickstand, which was also where they hid the micro SD card slot, where every time you had to like pry it out, I couldn't do it with my nails. I had to get like a butter knife to pop it open, and the terrible sound, like you're sure you broke it. And then because it's standing open, you're like, oh God, is the SD card going to fall out? Is everything okay? And on the Switch 1, they had the charging port on the bottom. So you could not play it in tabletop mode and charge at the same time, which
isn't that funny? Like so many, I feel like so many gadgets where people are like, didn't you think about having to plug it in at some point? And the fact that it doesn't work on, standing alone by itself. The Switch 2 sounds like the Nintendo has at least figured out some of the stuff.
Yes. So now there are USB-C ports on the bottom and top, which is also great for headphones and all that stuff if you don't want to use Bluetooth. So that is huge because that lets me use the Pro Controller more. So there is the dock for TV mode, which is how you can get 4K on the games that support it, because you do have to be in TV mode for that. But the dock is somewhat disappointing. Like, yes, you get your LAN port in there, which was not in every dock for the Switch 1. But it is so flimsy. It is terrifying to think like, oh God, is this going to scratch my screen? Is this okay? When you're removing the back cover, which I'm not going to do right now because again...
but you can? You can remove it?
Yeah, because that's how you stick all the cables in. But it's not even a really big cable opening. Like, I don't know what your HDMI cables look like, but mine are pretty thick. And then I have to like get it in and then bend it down.
I think they're all the same.
Yeah. And so then you have to do that, get that in while you're also sticking a USB-C cable in for power. Well, in my case, I'm also sticking a LAN cable in there, and it's really cramped coming out of the tiny opening on the really flimsy case, which again, I'm probably going to invest in a screen protector because putting that thing in and out just makes me nervous.
So there are always good and bads with even our absolute favorite gadgets and services. But what if you were to, again, as we go up to the holiday season and people, might be considering buying this, you've talked about some good and bad. Is there anything that you say this actually would be a deal breaker for you?
I haven't hit anything like that yet. Like some of like the mid disappointing things are the UI is exactly the same, which I'm saying mid because for people who are used to Switch 1 or for parents who are not into gaming, this is great because you don't have to learn anything new. Like you're good to go. But a lot of stuff isn't really taking advantage of the new things yet, which is why for people who aren't sold on it now, you should still wait. Like the new Joy-Cons can be used as a mouse, which is nice. You can plug in a lot more peripherals than you could for previous Switches without having to do weird hack workarounds. But right now for the mouse, you can use it in some FPS. You can use it in Mario Paint for the Nintendo Switch Online service, which again, as nostalgia bait, that's pretty great because I have my Mario Paint somewhere behind me right now, but not everybody does. Not everybody has a CRT for this, and it's nice to have the new generation experience it. But is that a system seller? No, it is not. Right now, the system seller is Donkey Kong. And hopefully, with the new Pokemon game, with more things coming out, that will entice more people. But if there's nothing right now that you want, you should probably still wait.
Okay, so you have talked about some of the good, some of the bad. What is your overall recommendation for the Switch 2? For somebody who's maybe excited about playing Donkey Kong or just not, who is this for?
This is for strictly Nintendo fans. If you're like getting into gaming, you have a lot. Well, you have spoiled for choice right now, frankly, depending on what system you're going to, because a lot of things are cross-platform that didn't used to be. But Nintendo stuff is on Nintendo. If you want Donkey Kong, if you want Mario, if you want Zelda, you have to have a Switch or Switch 2. And then for people who, say, missed Zelda Breath of the Wild the first time around, or Tears of the Kingdom, and want to play it, you can get an upgrade pack that adds more stuff to the Switch 2 version. And I would call those the definitive versions now, if you want to get into it. I'm even tempted to replay these 90-hour games because of the new stuff, because it talks to the app, because it keeps track of more things for you, which as an adult, I can't keep 900 things in my brain anymore. So I consider that an important feature.
Jenn Cutter, this has been an illustrious Live With It episode. I know how much you care about gaming, so you were just the absolute perfect person to tell us about the Switch 2. We really, really appreciate it. Really good stuff here. We'll have a lot more details in our show notes for anybody who wants to know more about it. But Jenn, obviously, you're in the DTNS family. Let folks know where they can keep up with all of your latest.
Well, all of my latest, I'd recommend following me on social media at jencutter.bluesky.social for Blue Sky, jencutter.mastodon.social for Mastodon, and maybe I'll try to post more on Threads. But the most important thing is to check out Daily Tech Headlines.
Yes, which you and I both do, but never on the same day. So I feel like I don't see you that often.
It is always nice to get to
even though I hear you all the time. Yeah.
So face-to-face is better.
Face-to-face is better. And one day we'll be able to, either in Canada or the U.S. or, I don't know, wherever we end up being, we'll, hug it out. You might be wondering what's coming up on an upcoming episode of Live With It. We have lots of ideas and a lot of stuff in the works. We have tons of stuff we're excited to share with you, but just so happens we have a sneak peek into what Eileen Rivera is currently living with. A happy accident or a big fail?
Hello, Live With It people. I am part of the Apple upgrade program. So every year I do choose to get the new phone. And so I waited this time. I didn't get up at 5 a.m, reserve my phone ahead of time to get it like on the first weekend. I said, you know what? I don't need it. Last night, I, got on the Apple Store app and I went boop, 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 boop. And then I was going to go pick it up at the store because it was faster than waiting until October 21st. But I bought the wrong one. So I did want the blue iPhone 17 Pro. Problem is I ordered the Max. Because it's an Apple upgrade, there's a loan situation. I just don't want to go through the hassle. I think it might be an easy fix. The only issue is that I have to wait because none of the stores here in Southern California have the 17 Pro in blue in 512 gigabytes, which is what I want. Maybe it's a sign. Maybe it's a sign that I need to upgrade and just live with it because potentially this might be a better phone after all. I'm going to spend the next several months detailing how my life is with this new big, it's like bigger than my face. I'm going to live with this phone for the next year, and I'm going to detail how it goes for the next several months.
Eileen will be joining us soon for the full rundown on the iPhone 17 Pro Max. But for now, that is it for us. If you enjoy Live With It, please remember we only do shows like this with your continued support for us on Patreon. Visit patreon.com/DTNS to learn more. Until next time, I'm Sarah Lane. You've been watching Live With It.